I'm hoping you can see me on both of these. Um, Let me check if people can see me on YouTube. I'm gonna have to watch myself. And sometimes I just can't figure out this whole YouTube thing. So I am gonna make sure that I can be seen. There is no echo. There are no issues. It is a new season. It is season 5. I am so excited I even made it to a season 5. Often when you start these shows, you just never know what's going to happen. And the fact that I got to a season 5, I am so excited about. So welcome everybody who is joining and will be joining. Happy after Christmas. I hope everybody had an amazing Christmas. I had a great Christmas, me and my daughter. I definitely ate a little bit too much. I probably cooked a lot, a lot too much, but I'm excited. So let me just get myself together here as I figure out and make sure that, okay, let me just check myself out here live. Okay, I can see myself. Let me see how it sounds. Okay, let me just check myself out here live. Okay, I can see myself. Let me see how it sounds. Okay, I'm a little bit behind, but I'm trying a new hairstyle. It's different. I don't ever like venture out. We'll see how I love this. I don't love it right now, but I'll be okay. Let me that and see if that works right now. But I'll be okay. Let me hello, everyone for joining. I'll be okay. Let me hello, everyone for joining. I'll be okay. Let me a bit of a disaster. So I'm hoping that it will all work out. So welcome everyone. It is the beginning of season 5. I am so happy I made it to a season 5. I am so excited. I am here. Sorry, I am just figuring stuff out here on YouTube. So I'm hoping that I can get it together and everyone can hear me on both YouTube and on Instagram. Again, I'm trying a new hairstyle. I don't know how long this hairstyle is going to last. I think this is working. Okay, I think this is working. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is good on YouTube, and then we can go. So season 5, happy after Christmas, happy Kwanzaa if you celebrate Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate, happy. I hope people had time with their families. I hope people got what they wanted. I'm at a certain point in my life that the only thing I ever really want is to spend quality time with my daughter. For those of you who have older kids, you know how precious that time can be because at some point they're going to start their own families and start their own tradition. And so with a 22-year-old, anytime I get to spend with her, I'm really happy. So I am excited. It was me and my daughter for Christmas for the first time in a few years. I made a ridiculous amount of food. I've got leftovers for today and definitely for tomorrow. But I'm excited. I am blessed. I don't need anything for Christmas but my daughter. I'm not a big Christmas person anyways. I'm a big birthday person. Christmas is Jesus's birthday, or at least so they say. So it's all about him and praise hallelujah. So welcome to season 5. I am going to get right into it. There are a couple of things that we're going to talk about. One of which is I am now officially back on the market after the breakup. It's been almost 6 months and 9 months since we stopped living together. I am at a space where I was like, I'm ready to start really dating again, dating intentionally, not just kind of hanging out with people, but people that I'm actually interested in. So I joined Hinge. For those of you who do not know what Hinge is an online dating site. I wouldn't say it's similar to what's the other, Tinder. I think it's a little bit different than Tinder. Actually, I've joined two dating sites. I'm going to be honest. I've joined two dating sites. One is called League, and that one you had to apply for, and you had to go on a wait list. And so I got waitlisted. My wait list was like 48 hours, so I wasn't waitlisted very long. And that one, how you get verified is through your LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, for those of you who don't know, is a professional website. And if you're in the corporate world, generally you're a business owner, you actually have a profile on LinkedIn. And so they verified my LinkedIn, which included my, academic achievements, my professional achievements. And then after going through the waitlist process and verifying me, then I got approved for League. And now I'm also on Hinge. So I'm on again, a dating site called League. And with League, you get, like, unless you subscribe, and I don't subscribe to any of these things, right? But unless you subscribe to League, you only get 3 matches a day, and it's like 5 p.m. Eastern. And so I get my 3 matches a day. And then once you get your match, and if the other person matches with you, then you can communicate. But again, this is all about like academics. And they say that they're about quality over quantity. So it's really aligning with, academically, professionally, religion, all of those things that you're looking for. And then with Hinge is a little bit Tinder, a little bit Hinge. I had to verify myself on Hinge as well, but there's more options. And all of them want you to subscribe. But anywho, so I am back on a dating site, and as much as I'm like, oh, I don't want to do the online dating, I've done online dating. And it's actually how I met like my ex-husband many, many moons ago, almost 20 years ago. And my, Rob, for those of you who don't know, my last relationship. And so online has been something that I've done. I mean, from Black Planet, MySpace, all of those times, to now. Online dating is interesting for me. I find it fascinating because you can either eliminate people quickly or qualify them quickly. And so what I'm talking about in terms of eliminating people quickly, I'm going to give you a scenario. So there was a gentleman that I matched with on Hinge, very handsome gentleman. On paper, looking at his profile, he was in the age range that I wanted. He had kids. He didn't want any more children. He was a professional because, again, I read profiles. I am the person who reads profile. I'm not just swiping or I'm looking. I'm actually reading profile. I'm reading what you're saying. I'm looking at your pictures. If you have videos, I want to hear your voice. Like, I do that. And so I'm at a space where I'm very clear about what I want and what I do not want, because in my last relationship, I ignored a few of the things I did not want. And that's actually what led to our demise. And those things are men with multiple children, with multiple women, and young children. I can do about 2 kids, and I like older kids, and preferably with one mother. I might consider 2 mothers, but it's in very rare situations that I'm going to do that. Anywho, so this gentleman, handsome gentleman, physically he was my type. We're chatting back and forth and, talking about what each other's looking for, because at this big age, like I'm 44, I'm looking for men between 45 and 65. That's my age range, right? Like, these are old men. I'm not looking for 30-something-year-old men. 45, and even 45 is young for me. It's really more 50 and up. My daughter thinks it's crazy. She's like, Mom, you have a young spirit. You should be about 40. But I'm like, no, 50 to like 65. But I'll do 45 to 65. Anyway, so I'm chatting with this gentleman. He's about, if I remember his profile, he's about 50. We're chatting. He's saying he's looking for a long-term relationship. I'm like, okay, great. That's what I'm looking for. Dating with intention for old people, right? Like, there's no playing the field at this age. Like, what are we doing? So we're chatting, and I asked about kids because those are my questions. How many kids do you have? What are the ages of the children? How many mothers come with those children? Have you ever been married or been in a long-term cohabitation relationship? Because being in a relationship is different than being married. And just being in a relationship without living with someone is very different than when you have separate homes. And I prefer someone who's either been married or has been in a long-term cohabitation situation where you've actually had to integrate your life with another person. So check, he had been in a 10-year cohabitation situation. They were in a common law relationship. In Canada, in Ontario, the province I live in, they recognize cohabitation as common law marriages. So I'm like, okay, great. So then I say, how old are the kids? No. Actually, before I talk about the old kids, I said, okay, so what happened in that relationship? 10 years, that's a long time to live together. What happened? He said that they grew apart. I left that one there. I was going to dig later, but before I dug, I was like, okay, so what are the ages of the children? Because I always let people know I have one child, she's 22, I have a whole adult. And so he's like, the kids are 9, 7, and 5. Now, first of all, good for you, sir, for waiting until you're a little bit older, had his first kid in his 40s. Congratulations to you. Like, get yourself together, become a father. All 3 children were with the same woman. 9, 7, and 5, though, is a no from me. And it made me go back to his previous statement of why they're not together. He was like, they grew apart. And when I hear ages like 9, 7, and 5, I'm like, grow back together. What are you out here in this world with a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 5-year-old looking for someone else? No, listen. Y'all be talking about people talking about, we have all these kids and we grew apart. Y'all need to grow back together. Grow back. Whatever happened, grow back together. Grow apart in the same house, raising your children. Do not bestow that up onto the rest of us. Like, I know what people want to call me mean or whatever. No, seriously, when you have children that young, talking about you grew apart, grow back together. Grow back together. Because no woman realistically wants to pick up a man with 3 young children, okay? And no man wants to pick up a woman with 3 young children. Like, just grow back together. Raise your family together. Let those children, and then you have 3 children. Like, when did you start growing apart? At baby number 2? Like, when does this happen? When do you sit in a relationship for 10 years, don't get married, have these children, and then talking about you growing apart? I don't want no parts of that. So I was very clear when he asked me if that was an issue. I left him a wonderful voice note and said, actually it is. And so just so you can hear the sound of my voice, that is actually why I left my previous relationship, because I do not want to be responsible for other people's young children. I did not birth them. I did not ask for them to be into the world. They are not mine. I have done my job. I've put in 22 years and counting. I am not going to, at 44, be raising nobody's 5-year-old. Not going to do it. No, thank you. Sayonara. And it made me realize how important it is to stick with our standard ladies. And listen, the man understood it. He said, I completely respect it, because I think in his mind, he knew that it would be an issue. I am sure he had met other women who were also like, no. Because when you're dating a 50-year-old and they say they have like a 9, 7, and 5, so you think about this, the youngest, there's another 13 years. So this man's at retirement age. He's like 63 when his youngest is like out the house and in college. What do we start traveling when we're in our 60s? No. So I knew, okay, girl, at least you're sticking with your do not date men with young children, because you learned from your previous situation that it is not something that you can handle. So it is the other thing for me about online dating, which is interesting. I won't lie, it's nice to feel desirable again. And yes, I know I talked to all of you, and Rob was the first one who said this on the show, 2 years ago, the difference between attention and intention. I'm very clear that what I'm getting is attention, and then I'm able to have discussions with the men that I'm meeting to decipher who is going to be intentional, because there's a difference. But it does stroke the ego quite a bit when you get a lot of likes and comments and people want to match with you. Online dating is a lot of hard work. You really have to keep the communication going. I'm a person who is a voice note, and when it gets to a point where I feel like, you know what, like, here's my number, please feel free to give me a call and go from there. So I am back on. I'm back dating. I am back on the market. It's been 6 months. I am still healing. My father's death was hard, and then subsequently the breakup was hard. But it was time for me to be back out on the market and to see what the new year has in store. So Hinge has been good for me. I don't think I'm going to do any more than Hinge in the lead. Tinder, I think, is just too much. There's Bumble. I don't like it because the woman has to make the first move. Like, it's just not, that thing is not for me. But I will keep you guys abreast of what happens, and if anything comes out of this. But it's just, again, it's kind of just nice to have people, ask me out again and kind of go through that getting to know you stage. Anyway, so that's my update on Hinge. I would recommend it to the ladies and gentlemen. I would say try Hinge. If you are single and you are looking to date, I would definitely say it's worth looking into. Again, I've had a good experience thus far, and I think it's worth looking into. Hinge as a potential site. Tinder, that's how I met my ex. I mean, it's okay. We all know it's kind of a bit of a meat market. It's all about the best look. I mean, all of these sites are, right? Like, people aren't just liking me for my personality. I mean, I've got pictures and videos up there, right? So it's literally a physical attraction first, but I think they stick around for what it is that I have to say. So anyway, that's my update on that. I had so much fun last week when I did the question and answer for tonight's conversation that I thought I would do it again this week. But before I start, I am all going to put out there once again, everyone, if you are interested in being a co-host for season 5 and or beyond, please send me a message. Either email me, and my email is on, if you're following me on Instagram, if you press email, it will go directly to my email. And if you are on YouTube, it's fyftheshow@gmail.com. Again, that's fyftheshow@gmail.com. So if you're interested in being a co-host with me, I'm actually looking for differing female perspectives. I would love women who maybe disagree with some of the things that are said or feel strongly about some of the things that are said. I'm fine if you agree with me as well, but I like to hear differing points of view, and I would love to have some male co-hosts on as well. So if you're interested in co-hosting with me over the next season, there are 25 episodes each season. Feel free to hit me up and we can have a conversation about what that looks like. So I am going to go into, again, the Q&A with the tonight's conversation cards. You guys should really check out these cards. I have a 3-pack. The other one is more for when you're actually have a partner. So when I get somebody, I can start doing those cards. But for now, we're going to answer relationship discussions and relationship debates. If you would like to answer the questions with me, you can either put them in the chat, either on Instagram. Instagram or YouTube, or you can decide if you want to come live with me on Instagram. I do not have the chat, the link up on the StreamYard link up on YouTube, but you can come live with me on Instagram. So first question. Can great sex really be taught? I'm going to repeat that. Can great sex really be taught? I am so Jamaican. I have been in this country since 1989, and there's still some like words that I still am like, with all the education in the world, taught. Can great sex be taught? I think great sex with you can be taught. I think you can teach somebody what you like, what turns you on, what turns you off. like experiences that you enjoy. I don't necessarily think you can teach them how to have great sex with someone else potentially if you break up and the other person or people enjoy what you enjoy, but I definitely think that it can be taught with you, and I think that's important. I don't think you should be going in and giving yourself to someone who isn't pleasing you. And to me, if you're uncomfortable discussing sex with someone, why are you having sex with them? There are people who I've heard who will say that they are uncomfortable talking about sex with their partner, and it's like, how? So you're gonna have sex with someone that you're not comfortable talking about sex with? Like, that's a weird concept. So I definitely think that it is a possibility to teach someone about what great sex like looks like for you, and then experience that together. So that would be, I'd love to hear other people's thoughts, but that would be mine. During sex, you think your significant other called you by the wrong name. Do you immediately stop and ask or wait until afterward? I don't know what I would do. I'm not sure. Okay, so but let me go back to the other question. Dahlia Joanne, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. She's saying, she's agreeing, you can teach an old dog new tricks. So you can teach somebody how to please you. Going back to this question, if I thought that my significant other had called another name during our intercourse, I'm not sure what I would do. Like, I think that's one of the things that you think you'll do something until you're in the moment. You know, my inclination would be to say, oh no, I'm gonna stop and we're gonna talk. That might not be it. Cause it just might be so good that you just, oh, like, I'll worry about this later, right? So I think it's gonna depend on the situation. So this is one I'm gonna say, I'm not sure. Again, my inclination would be to stop, but probably not, especially if you're getting it real good. So I think you do what's best. Yeah, am I gonna get upset? That's the thing. I'm not sure I'm gonna get upset unless they call me by the name of someone who's been a thorn or something in our relationship, and then we're gonna have an issue. But if it's just some random name, I mean, we'll deal with it after. Because I'm not interrupting great sex, but I digress. Oh, good God. What's the difference between a person who is effable and one who is wife/husband material? What's the difference between a person who is effable and one who is wife/husband material? I have definitely met men in my life that I thought, yeah, no. Like, I can't be around you for more than like 30 minutes at a time. I need you in small doses. I didn't F them though. So I guess for me, it's one of those things that, like, I'm no innocent Nancy at all. But for me, like, that's really a good question. This is why I want a male co-host. I want men to answer this because it is such a man question, because we know with them, like, they will just go and put their peen in things that make you question reality. But I don't know if I've been in a situation where I don't know. Actually, I do not have an answer to that question. I would love someone to answer that question for me, because I do not know. There could be men that are just so, for me, would it be like a man is just so fine? No, definitely. I've met a guy that was just so fine. Like, he fit the qualifications. I had seen him several times at events, and we finally had, locked eyes, asked me for my number, asked me out, we chatted. He was, and if you know my type, you definitely know he's over 6 feet. I think he was about 6'5", 6'6". And then I learned that he had 7 kids by 7 women. He had an ankle monitor on, which I clearly was not aware when I met him at the club. And one of the women that he had the child with, we were friends on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So he saw I guess when he added me, and then it was like, oh, so you're friends with my, yeah, he was definitely affable, but did not F him after all of that, because clearly he looks like he breeds on you and you get pregnant. So that's a no. But that would have been like, it was like, as fine as he is, as much as he had me captivated when I saw him several times, the moment he started telling me about his life, I was like, this sounds like chaos. And then I know one of your baby mamas, and me and her weren't like, you know, close. She didn't really like me when we were growing up. So no, sir. No, sir. I'm gonna have to pass on that. So I think it's sometimes for me, once I start getting to know someone and I learn about their life and I realize how chaotic it is, or just they've just made some really bad decisions, and I'm like, that's not what I want for my own life. That's when it becomes an issue. So that's what I would say. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts though. Oh, God. Okay. While surprising your significant other at work with food, you ask a coworker where they are, and they respond jokingly, "Oh, they went to lunch with their work wife slash husband. What happens next?" I call him. First of all, I'm not showing up to my man's work and wasting my time. I'm not surprising anybody with anything, right? Like, I'm just not that person, because getting in my car, doing all of this, that's time I had to get ready. Like, I value my time. So first, I'm not surprising anybody. So I'm gonna say, like, that wouldn't be me. I would have definitely called first. However, if I did manage to surprise them and I found out that they were with their work wife, I'm just gonna call and be like, "Hey babe, I'm here at your office. I heard that you went out with your work wife. Like, I brought you lunch. When are you gonna be back? What do you want me to do with it?" And I'm gonna go on my way. Like, this work wife, work husband thing, I don't know what, like, people have an issue. Like, I've had work husbands. Generally, my work husbands were gay. Like, I've had several work husbands and they were gay. Like, I don't have an issue with, like, you spend a lot of time with people at work. Even in remote work, there's still people that you might speak to more often. You get closer. When we were in, in the offices, there might be people that you just vibe together. Like, people, a man is going to do what a man's going to do, and a woman's going to do what a woman's going to do. I am not going to have angst worrying about how someone may or may not act when they're not in my presence. I can't. That disrupts my daily routine. If I have to sit and worry, well, such and such is not in my presence, how are they going to be when they're not around me? Oh my God, I have to keep. I am not keeping tabs on no grown man for the purpose of keeping tabs. Now, it's one thing to share your location in this day and age, share your Uber, share your location. God forbid anything happens to you. That's a thing. Like, if you're doing it for that purposes, I don't have a man right now. So I share my Uber location, my Lyft location with my daughter. Because God forbid anything happens to me, I want someone to know. It was so funny because the other day she texted me, she's like, "Where are you going?" And I realized I was sharing my location. And she said, "Oh, mommy, when you share your location, it like tells me where you're getting picked up, where you're getting dropped off." I was like, perfect. Because when I get a man, I can transfer that to him so that he can be aware when I'm just going around doing my thing. What the hell is going on with me? So for those purposes, I'm fine with doing that. But I just am not in a place that I'm going to track a grown man. I can't. I just, the way my life is set up, I just think that's too much for me. I don't like that inner angst. I don't like how that feels. And so if I'm going to be concerned if my man is having an affair with someone at work, I'm not going to be with that man, because I value my own peace. And if you're getting me to the point where I'm having this inner angst that I feel like I have to check your phone, check your email, show up at work, get in the black car with my girls on a mission wearing all black, it probably says that this is not the relationship for me. But am I wrong, ladies? I mean, should people be worried about work wife and work husbands? I mean, you let me know. I've never had a situation where I've ever had to worry about that, but maybe it's a thing and people have been burnt, and so now it's an issue. But for me, like, yeah, I'm not doing it. What's a hoe phase? And have you ever had one? If so, what influenced it? I guess the whole phase would be when a man or woman, and I'm just going to speak for women because I don't know if men have whole phases. Like, I think they have phases where they sleep around with a bunch of women. Is that a whole phase for a man? I don't know, because they are the givers and we are the receivers. They are doing the pounding and we're receiving the pounding. So I have my own thoughts on that. But what is a whole phase is when a woman has decided that she does, in my mind, a whole phase is when a woman has decided that she does not want to be in a relationship and she is instead going to go out and have sex with whomever she wants on her terms. And I put the her terms in quotation because often women, we are not having sex on our own terms, because at the end of the day, a lot of us do not have sex with men we don't want to keep us. Like, I'm going to say that over and over again. And so we think that we're going out there and having sex on our own terms. But if you have sex with that man that you think is also fine and he says it's been a relationship, you're not going to say, no, I'm going to continue my whole ways. You're going to be with that man because, again, we generally do not have sex with men we don't want to keep us. But I digress. Anyways, have I had a whole phase? No. I don't think I've ever had a phase where I was like, I'm just going to go out there and have sex with as many men as I want. I just never did that because, again, I generally had sex with men I wanted to keep me. And they just didn't. Well, hey, let's just call it what it is. Sometimes you don't get what you want because you pull the trigger too quickly. So that would be my answer to that. But you guys let me know if you had a whole phase and what influenced it. So I ain't got nothing for that one. Okay. Your significant other surprises you with a home cooked anniversary dinner. You take one bite and it's nasty AF. How would you handle the rest of the feast? I'm not eating it. I'm not eating it. Like, why would I eat something that I don't enjoy? And I don't understand, like, I've never been the person who's like, and if a woman says she look fat in something and she does look fat, you're supposed to say, no, honey, you look great. No, say you look fat. You don't, that's not the outfit for your body type. I love you, babe, but this outfit is not flattering on. And I think you should change. Like, I'm that friend, right? Like, I'm that person. So if my significant others, I appreciate that you went out of your way, babe, but this is just, it's not good. And I love you. Let's go out to eat or let's order something. You know what? You did all of this hard work. Let me pick up the tab. We'll go. I love you. I appreciate you. This was awesome. But neither one of us should be eating this. Like, more power to you. Next time, do something else. Let's go to dinner. I got you, babe, for all the hard work that you put in. But I'm not about to sit there and eat no food that I think is nasty AF. I love my belly. No, thank you. Is it possible to turn a hoe into a housewife / husband? I know they're trying to do the whole equality thing, but it really should have just stopped at hoe into a housewife, like, not husband. First of all, you can't turn anybody into anything. That's the first thing. You can't turn anybody into anything. People make the decision that they're going to change on their own. If a man has been out there and he's been slinging peen and he meets you and he stops slinging peen, it's because he doesn't want to damage what you have, and he figures that going around slinging peen is going to damage that, and he has made the conscious decision to stop. If a woman was loosey-goosey with her pom-pom and she meets you and she feels like that's something that's clearly going to damage the relationship, she's going to make. This isn't about turning anybody into anything. We don't turn people into anything. Yes, we can have influence over people. We can definitely influence people. Our presence can be a good or bad influence on people. And it's not situation. If you come into somebody's life and you show up and you're influential and they see value in you, they will change their behavior accordingly, especially if that behavior is not going to net them the result that they want. However, this concept that we change people or turn them into anything, no, we do not. We don't do anything. No, people change on their own. You may have motivated the change, you may have influenced the change, but you don't turn anybody into anything. People have made a conscious decision that they no longer want to exhibit a certain behavior because doing so may mean that they lose you, but that's something that they do on their own. Women, we are not going off and because of our magical vagina or whatever, we're going out and turning, men who were spitting their peanut all over into one woman men. That man just decided that for you, he wanted to be a one woman man. Period, point blank. I ain't turning nobody into nothing. But that's just me. Lord, some of these questions are long. Oh my God. Okay. Your significant other has an opposite sex best friend who likes them romantically. Your significant other reasons that it's okay to remain friends because the feelings aren't mutual and nothing inappropriate has happened. Do you agree? Explain. No, I do not agree. Dahlia Joanne said, not the magical vagina. Girl, some of us be out here thinking we have the magical vagina and we do not. Like, we ain't got nothing but the regular old vagina that the 5 other women he had sex with before us had out here thinking that we got. Now, me, on the other hand, girl, you know about the golden pump. But I digress. Getting back to this question. If my significant other had a female friend that I knew was romantically into him, I would have to have a conversation with him about this because I do not think it's fair to lead people on. Like, right? So if he had made it very clear to her that it wouldn't ever be, and no matter what she does, they're always going to be a friendship, then that's one thing. If he has made her ever feel as if there was anything that could happen, then I would have an issue, right? Like, I have men in my life who I consider friends who have said to me that they're romantically interested in me, and I've made it very clear, ain't never going to be. We're never going to be. It's never going to happen. I appreciate your friendship. I think you're a great friend. You can, if you want to decide that you want to sit here and wait, that's on you, sweetie pie. But we are never going to be. I'm not attracted to you in this way. And usually for me, it's a physical attraction. I'm just not physically attracted to you in that way. And I know for some people that's not supposed to be important and we care about the personality. Yes, all great. Guess what? Men over 6 feet tall come with great personalities as well, right? Like, I don't need to be with a man that I'm not physically attracted to, hoping for a great personality. There are plenty of 6'5" men with amazing personalities. I've met them. That I'm fine. So I'm not in a space where I am like, oh, I'm going to be with someone, and lead them on knowing that they have certain feelings for me. So I don't have an issue with it, but I would have an issue if my ex did not make it clear to that person and then they became an issue in our relationship. Because that does happen, right? And there are some women or some men who are waiting their turn. I can't control somebody else's behavior, especially when that person is outside of my relationship. But I can have a conversation with the person I'm in a relationship with and see if their behavior is contrary to what I think it should be for, again, the purpose of this. I don't want any woman to have her heart broken by somebody that I love. I don't want them to exhibit behavior that would make that person's heart broken. But if a woman just wants to stick around and hoping that one day she will get her turn, then that's on you, girl. I ain't got nothing for you. Moving on. Oh, since you've become sexually active, what's the longest you've gone without having sex? It was definitely over a year. Right now, I am at 9.5 months. What am I at? 9.5 months? March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Yes, 9.5 months. 9 months and 12 days to be exact. So it was over a year. I cannot recall how much over a year it was, but it was definitely over a year. And this one is looking like it's going to be over a year as well. We shall see. But I think for me, it's one of those things where I need more than physical attraction. I need something more than that, right? I have many a men in my Rolodex or on my phone that I can call if I so desire. I don't desire. I don't want it. I want a connection. I want something real, and there's nothing better than being with someone that you have something real with. So for me, it's not that I am choosing to be celibate or I'm waiting till I'm married and all those things. I'm just not going to give it away until I am in something more solid. Whether it be an exclusive dating relationship or it be a committed, you know, boyfriend girlfriend. I mean, we're so old to be saying boyfriend girlfriend, but it is what it is. Boyfriend girlfriend relationship, that's fine, but I'm not just going to be giving it up because I have an itch. There's Amazon and I have Prime. Plenty of things on Amazon. I will be fine. Moving on. Oh, this is a good one, people. Ooh, your significant other's opposite sex friend, who they call their sibling, is staying the night with the two of you. During a drinking game, you find out that they slept together years ago. What happens next? Now, that would definitely piss me off. That would definitely piss me off because you're actually willfully trying, the both of you are willfully trying to deceive me at this point. Because why not just say that? Why not just say, hey, yo, especially my man, right? I'd be like, babe, listen, me and X are close, but I want you to know, like back in the day, something did happen between us. We're good now. Like, I just don't see it being a thing. It was a thing that happened, and now we're so cool. She's like my sister, but I just want you to never be blindsided. That's what I used to say to my ex all the time. I was like, don't ever put me in a situation where I'm blindsided. Don't do that. That's not cool. I want to be prepared. And don't ever let anyone else tell me information that you should have told me. I don't like that. So the idea that my man is introducing somebody as his bestie, or she's like my sister, knowing that they had sex, like, don't blindside me like that, because I would never blindside him, right? Like, I would never put my man in a situation where another man has something up on him. And I think that's what becomes the issue. You feel like somebody had something up on you, and a lot of women can be petty. I can't speak for men. I'm not a man, but I know women very well. And some women can be petty. It's like, yeah, sis, I got something over you. And that shit is not cool. So I would say if my man, was introducing me to one of his homegirls as this is like my sis, my little sis, only to find out one night that they slept together or had been sleeping together before me, I'd be pretty pissed. And yeah, he'd have some explaining to do. And don't do that. I'm a person, like, again, I have a show called F Your Feelings for a reason. We better say everything up front, because if I get blindsided, me and you're going to have an issue, because that's not cool. That's never cool, because I'm not going to do that to you. Next question. Oh my God, this is like this. I'm not even gonna. This is the whole high body count question, and we're not doing this. I'm actually tired of these high body count questions. I'm over them. So, true or false? Women tell the truth about their body count. Defend your answer. False. Everyone lies about their body count, unless you're a virgin. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not everybody. Generally, people are not giving you the accurate number. Let me say that. And this is not about women, or men aren't even saying it, because some of them don't even know. They weren't counting. They weren't counting. And how much you're sitting and count, unless it's been like 1, 2, 3. Once you get over 5, most people stop counting. So, yeah, I would say, that women are not telling the truth, but who cares? Like, why are you asking the question? If you want a virgin, go find one and marry one, right? Like, don't marry a woman or man who's had a past. And especially when we're in, if somebody comes to my 44-year-old self and starts asking me a question about my, like, next, I have been with men who have, I know, been with women in the hundreds because of their profession. My ex played ball for 6.5 years. He looked the way he looked since he was 13. He was like 6'7" at 13 years old. Okay, like I'm not asking that man about how many women. He didn't even ever look at me and ask me those questions. I think it just comes from such an insecure place. Like that's an interesting question. Like it just comes from such an insecure place. I've never met a man of a certain stature who's ever looked at me and asked me that question ever, ever. Like never. And I dated a really good crop of men, and never once have we sat down and been like, so, by the way, how many? It's just not a question I've ever been asked in my many years of dating. My husband never asked me that question. It's not a question that he asked me. Like, yeah, anyways, I digress. I just think this whole body count thing, I'm over. I always dislike this question, but I'm going to answer it, right? A woman is dating two women. He lies to one about this and is truthful with the other. This is such the way they worded this. So really the question is, a man is dating two women. He lies to one and is truthful with the other about the situation. Which relationship does he value more? Neither. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that answer back. I'm going to take that answer back. The key word in this question is dating. A man is dating two women. It does not say a man is in a relationship with two women. It says dating. When you are dating, you can date multiple people. Stop it. Stop with this idea that dating makes you exclusive. You are dating. When you are dating multiple people. I assume that when a man is dating me, that he's also dating other women. I also assume that if a man is dating me and not having sex with me, that he's dating and having sex with other women because he's not getting it from me. So he's got to be getting it from somewhere else. And unless he tells me out of his own mouth that he's celibate, then he's ramming somebody somewhere. And we need to stop confusing the whole concept of dating and in a relationship. People date, and they should date multiple people. Period. Point blank. Like I don't get this idea why this confusing. That dating is dating. It's not a relationship. It's not marriage. It's not engagement. It's the getting to know you phase to decide if this person is worthy to upgrade them to the next thing. So men, you can date as many women as you want. Ladies, date as many people as you want. Dating does not equal sex, and dating does not equal relationship, and sex does not equal a relationship. The only thing that equals a relationship is two people coming together, deciding that they both want to be in this relationship and committing to it. I just think this whole like, oh, he was dating other women. He should. He should. That's what he should do. Like it's just nonsense. But I digress. Moving on. Okay. A woman says she doesn't want to have sex on the first date because a man will respect her less if she does. Does she have a point? I don't know. I'm not a man. Men, do you respect women less if they have sex on the first date? I think a woman should do whatever she wants to do. If she wants to be in a relationship and she decides to give away her power by having sex on the first date, then she shouldn't be surprised if that man doesn't want to be in a relationship with her because she just gave away her power. Our power is in our vagina. And when we give it up too soon, then we have lost the power. It is our bargaining chip. And the reason the dating pool is the way it is, because a lot of us are just giving away our loose vaginas to men who don't want to be with us because they gave us some attention. So women, you have to decide what cards do you want to be left holding. Do you want to have sex with a man on the first date and give away your power? Kudos to you. If you want to wait and that man doesn't want to wait for you, maybe that man isn't for you, because there's a difference between our dating pool and our marriage pool. There's a difference between our sex pool and our dating pool. There's a lot of men that will have sex with me. It does not mean that they will date or marry me. I'm smart enough to know this. Dahlia Joanne. You just answered the question, Sheba. Basically, right? Like, live your best life, but understand that you are determining what you're going to get from that man, whatever it is that you do. So I'm no judgment. You want to have sex on the first date, you do that, girl. If you don't want to have sex on the first date because you feel like, you know what, I want more, because there's a difference. And I always say there are women who want relationships and women who are looking for a good time. If you're a woman who's looking for a good time, how you conduct yourself during the dating phase or your single season is very different than a woman who wants a relationship. A woman who wants a relationship cannot conduct herself in the same way as a woman who is having a good time and who's just in her good time phase, right? Sometimes as women, we're just like, you know what? I'm done with the relationship thing. I don't want to take care of another man. I don't want to deal with another man's drama. I just want to go out there and have fun and live my best life. That woman is going to conduct herself very differently than the woman who says, you know what, this single season, ooh, I'm over it. I want to go up there. I don't want to attract a good man. I want a good man to come my way. So if you want a good man to come your way, giving out your pum pum all loosey goosey, probably not the best way. But I move on. Next question. How much time we got here? Okay, I got a few more minutes before I'm going to log off. Again, happy, merry after Christmas Day. Okay. Oh, good God. You broke up with your significant other less than a week ago, and they are already in another relationship. What does this likely mean? For me, it means that it is none of my business. That's what it means for me, because that was basically my last situation. We broke up on the 30th of June, and I found out 3 weeks later that on July 14th, he was back with the mother of his children after us being together for 2 years, 8 months, and 2 days. Yes, I counted down. And you know what? On June 30th, so did you make fun of me? On June 30th, the moment after we broke up, what he did was no longer my business. And ladies and gentlemen, it shouldn't be yours either. When you have decided that a relationship is end, just end it. Why are you concerned what the other person is doing? I don't care. As long as I didn't find out that he was with them while we were in a relationship. What they do after is none of my business. And I always say men move on faster than we do, ladies. They have more options. Let's just call a spade a spade. They have more options. A lot of us are pining after men that are in relationships. And the moment those men get out of a relationship, we will tuck our tail between our legs and go running to that man, right? Like, that's just the reality of the situation. But for me, when I'm out of a relationship, I am out. And so you wish the two people luck and you move on. But what someone does after I have broken up with them, or they've broken up with me, or we've mutually parted ways, is none of my business. It's time to move on and go live my best life. And I hope they live theirs. But that's just me. I ain't got no time to be racking my brain trying to figure out, girl, please. Interesting. This is an interesting question. Do you feel like having a high body count as a single person causes unrealistic expectations about sex inside a committed relationship? You start questioning, how much does somebody value sex with a high body count? And what is high these days? Because to some people, I've heard men on Kendra G say, if you've been, if you're a 40-year-old woman who's been with more than 8 men, your body count is too high for me. What is high? High could be 2 for some people, it could be 22 for some, it could be 122 for others. The only thing that to me affects what happens in a committed relationship are the two people in the relationship. You should be having conversations about what you want, need, and desire before you decide to be in a committed relationship. That's just my 2 cents. I am not going to not talk about something that is so fundamentally important as sex. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your hangups about sex. What do you like? What you don't you dislike? What are your fantasies? What do you want to fulfill? How should we fulfill them? Are you okay with going to a sex club? Have you ever had a threesome? Do you fantasize over a threesome? What are your kinks? Like, are we just going into relationships all willy-nilly, not having conversations about this? Because that's weird to me. Not at our big age. Like, I want to know my next man. I want to know. We're gonna go down the list. Do you watch porn? What kind of porn do you enjoy? Do you want to watch porn when we have sex? Have you been to a sex club? Do you like to watch? Do you like to be watched? What are the things that you've done that you just didn't like? What did what did someone do to you that you thought, oh my God, I wish somebody would do this to me all the time? Like, we should not be going into relationships and not having these conversations. We're fine with talking about finances and family and how we're going to build our family, but you want someone to have sex with you and only you forever when you get with them, but you don't want to talk about it. No. So for me, screw a body count. Let's have a conversation about sex and how sex is going to work for us and what you will not do and what you're not open to. And before we get into a committed relationship, I need to understand that, because I need to decide whether I should be committing to you and you should be committing to me. Because if there's certain things that you just cannot see yourself doing and I could not see myself living without, then clearly this is not going to work. Dahlia Joanne has a comment. So Dahlia Joanne is saying body count is nobody's business as long as you're not the community mattress or your boo isn't the village ram. I'm done. Then why does it matter? Girl, I'm with you. This is one that I don't understand. And I was with a man who also didn't understand it. And I hear all of these, male podcasters talking about body count. But I was with a man, as you, Dahlia Joanne, knows, that almost every woman describes when they come on these dating shows, and he could have given a shit about body count. It was never even a conversation that we had. He just didn't care. And for me, it's like, those are the type of men that I attract. Like, my body count. Let's talk about how we are going to do it. Why are you concerned what I was doing with the next man, unless that next man was your brother, friend, uncle, cousin? Like, the only time you need to be concerned is if I was with someone who is in your circle, or like you said, I was the mattress for the entire damn city, and people are just like, oh my God, you just have to take her to McDonald's for a Happy Meal and she'll be like, we're not doing that. We're too grown, big people. But I digress. Next question. Oh my God, these questions are so long. Okay. Okay. You're meeting your best friend's new significant other for the first time. While being introduced, you awkwardly hug because you had sex before. Who should tell your best friend first? Explain. Very true. People definitely can lie about their number. So it is what it is. So, but getting to this question. So you're meeting your best friend's new significant other for the first time. While being introduced, you awkwardly hug because you had sex before. Who should tell your best friend first? Explain. Well, I'm definitely gonna say something, and I'm gonna say something while we are there. While we're all sitting together, right? Like, I'm not gonna take her to the side and tell her after. We're just gonna put it all out there. Hey, just so you know, I'm just gonna put this all out here. We know each other, and this was the guy, because I tell my girls about the guys that I've been with. This was the guy I was telling you about, blah, blah, blah. And let's deal with it because we're adults. I'm not gonna not tell her. I think it is important for her to know, because it may not matter. Again, there's a difference between someone you had relations with and someone you were in a relationship with. Me having relations with someone does not give me full authority over them. Like, oh my God, I own him now because I was loose with my vagina and gave it to a man who didn't want to be in a relationship with me, right? Like, because he clearly didn't, because it didn't end up being a relationship. Now, if it was someone I was in a relationship with and it was somehow before I met my best friend, that's very different, because that's a very different conversation. But my best friends I've been best friends with, and they have seen me through everything since we were 18 years old. So they know the good, the bad, and everything in between. So no, we're going to put it out there, and they can decide how they're going to deal with it, but I'm not going to hide it. It's not something that I'm personally going to do, because I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not hiding a secret from my best friends. It's not something that I'm comfortable with. So I'm just going to let them know. So, and then it's for the two of them to decide how they decide to proceed. Because for me, I don't care. That's just me. Okay. Oh God, this is the high. I don't know, this tonight's conversation has an obsession with high body count. I'm skipping this question because it's not a damn high body count question. Again, I'm over it. What's the biggest difference between long-term committed sex and single sex, and which do you prefer? Who the hell wants single sex? Single sex means that no one's claiming you. You're not being claimed. And single sex means you're going to be lonely at the end of it, because it is very generally, single sex is not you hanging around with the person and them staying to cook breakfast, maybe, but likely not, right? It's you're singular. I personally like to be in a committed relationship where there are feelings and you get to learn each other. Single sex, a man or woman generally doesn't know your body. They don't care to know your body. They're not necessarily going to stick around for a long time. They may, but the likelihood is it's single sex for a reason. Whereas again, when you're in a committed relationship, the person cares about pleasing you, wants to learn your bodies, your kinks, your wants, your desires, your fantasies, all that. And that's what I want. So that's just me, however. And these questions are so long, I almost want to skip them. Honestly, I'm just going to try to get to the shorter questions because these questions are so long. This is just a dumb question. How long can your partner say no to sex before it starts affecting the relationship? 3 times. By the third time, we have a problem. Because that's how I show love. That is part of the way I show love. I like intimacy. I like being close to someone. And if the first time I ask and he's like, nah, babe, like I'm tired or whatever, okay, cool, you're a hardworking man. The second time I ask, he's like, oh, babe, like I just need to. But by the third time, what's the issue here? Because at this point, you're now depriving me of what it is that I want. I'm going to have an issue. So I say, you know what? Like, I will give my man 2 times of saying no to sex, but by the third time, we're going to actually be sitting down and having a conversation and figure out what's up, because I'm not going to be deprived of something that I enjoy. And if there's something that we need to fix, I want to fix it so we can get back to enjoying it. Or we got, bigger issues in our relationship. And I think we need to, I don't like the idea of using sex as a weapon or as a punishment or as a reward, right? Like, when you're with someone, it should just be something that you want to do. Like, I want to be with someone and I look forward to again. Like, I look forward again to being with someone that I want to be with so much, that I desire so much. Like, the smell of them, like looking at them from across the room, like all of that is so amazing. Like, I desire that again. So I could not imagine myself regaining that and getting that back and then trying to use sex as a tool to punish or reward. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I hope that I don't get with someone who's doing that, because like I said, by the third time, yeah, Houston, we have a problem. So I'm going to ask 2 more questions and I'm going to move on. But before I move on, again, if you are interested in being a co-host of the show with me for season 5, this is the first episode of season 5, please send me a DM or email me at fyftheshow@gmail.com. If you're on Instagram and you're hearing this, you can simply press the email button that is on my profile, and we'll take you to that email address. If you're on YouTube, again, it's fyftheshow@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest host, I would prefer men so that we can have a male perspective, but I'm open to having women as well who may have a differing perspective than I do, or have questions, or, we can just have a girlfriend conversation if that's what you want. So let's do it. Okay, true or false? Men cannot take what they dish out when it comes to cheating or flirting. Defend your answer. My ex was very clear. He said, listen, as much as Sheba says cheating is not a deal breaker for her, and I love her for it, it is definitely a deal breaker for me. I would have a very hard time being able to get over the fact that some other men had her legs pinned behind her head. So absolutely true. Men can absolutely not dish out. They get completely in their feelings because they see it very differently. Again, in their minds, they are the givers, we are the receivers, and the idea of their women on their back, on their side, on their belly, on their wherever, taking it from another man, they cannot deal with it at all. And the honest ones will tell you, and my ex is to be completely honest. I have sat here, I remember sitting with him and saying, it is not a deal breaker. If you cheated, we would probably get over it. And he looked at me and he was like, I love you, babe. It's definitely a deal breaker, right? Like, I don't know if I'm getting over it because now this man has power over me. He's had my woman. And whether we like it or not, and this be clear, that's not being misogynistic. I know we like to use this word misogynistic, and for those of you who do not understand what that word means, misogyny is literally the hatred of women. It is men who do not desire a world with women in it. A lot of the times we're looking for the word sexist. So yes, that might be a sexist point of view. The idea of some other man having my woman. Yes, men like to have ownership over the women they are with. They want to know that them and only them can have their woman. And so when their woman has given herself freely to another man, they actually have issues with it because they no longer own you. And yes, again, it may sound sexist, but men and women are wired differently. It is just the way it is the way we're wired. Like, I don't know why we just want to go against biology with our feminist hand in the air. Men are wired differently. They want to own us. They want to possess us. That is what they want. And when we go out there and we give ourselves to other men sexually or emotionally, yeah, they can't deal with it. Because now you're not theirs. And they want you to be theirs. They chose you. And now you've given yourself to someone else. Yeah. Men, yeah, they're not about it. Okay, we just basically have this. It's like I need to, these questions are just like pretty repetitive. Oh, good God. Oh my God. Okay, let me go to the other one because they just keep asking the same question over and over again. A woman's significant other wants her to change clothes because he feels the outfit is too seductive. She feels the outfit is empowering and will not change. Who's right? Explain. They're both right. They are both right to feel how they feel. Whether the relationship will survive is another question. But she has the right to feel that her outfit, there's nothing wrong with it, and she feels empowered and sexy and whatever she feels. And he has the right to feel like it is too seductive. And the woman that I want to be my woman should not be wearing that outfit. And so after they both are in a space where they feel what they feel, then they need to decide if this relationship is for them. Now, me personally, I get my approval from my man before we go out. I'm a representation of him. And there are not many times that my ex has ever said, babe, shame. I did have one time that I was about to put on an outfit and he said, you best not. It's not going to happen. So I knew that outfit wasn't going to happen because he shot that crap down so quickly. But I truly believe that I am a representation of my man. And therefore, when he gives me his opinion, I personally listen. Just like I don't want a man with sagging pants whose butt is showing, who's just not groomed in a certain way. And so my man would do things to make sure that he was representing me, to the point where I threw out a bunch of his clothes and rebought them because I'm like, at our big age and where we are in life and where we are in a career, that outfit is not professional or representative or whatever it is. So I don't personally have issues with that in a relationship. This is not about control. This is about, again, you create the relationship that you want. And so if this man thinks that this woman's outfit's too seductive and she feels like I'm going to stand my ground, then they need to determine if that relationship is for them. I'm personally a woman that if I'm in a relationship and my man says go left and I want to go right, we're going left because he's a leader of my home. But if some women feel like their way is the right way and they're not going to compromise, then they can't be with a man with a mindset that requires compromising. It's just that simple. Okay, so I'm going to ask one more question and then, oh my God, this is all about cheating. I'm like over the cheating question. Oh my God. Like tonight's conversation, do better. I have literally now answered about 6 questions, back to back, all cheating, cheat, and more cheating. Oh my God, another cheating question. Is this what it's about? Oh my God. Oh, cheat again. I literally am going to count cheat some more. It's the same questions over and over again. I mean, did they run out of questions? Cheating again. I literally, I'm going to, thank you. My goodness, I think I just skipped 10 questions because they were the same questions over and over again. Like, do better tonight's conversation. When sex is good, what are the specific qualities that make it enjoyable? You're having sex with someone that you want to have sex with. Let's start there. Um, and someone who wants to have sex with you, and somebody who cares about your needs, wants, and desires. That's really what makes sex enjoyable. Is this someone catering to your needs, your wants, and your desires? And are you doing the same? I don't want to ever feel like someone's doing something just because they think it's what I like and they also don't enjoy doing it, right? Like, I'm not with someone who's like, oh, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't do this, or I'm only doing this because I love you. Like, no one, I'm not doing that. So I think what makes sex enjoyable is not, for me, is that I feel desired. I feel wanted. I know that this person wants to please me, and I in turn want to please them. Like, that makes it enjoyable. And doing it with someone who wants to be with me, who's not about to scurry off to go run and be with someone else, or whatever the case might be, or is just there for a good time and not a long time. That's not enjoyable. Like, how can you enjoy having sex when you know that once he's bust a nut, he's going to be ready to put on his clothes and go be with someone else? I don't know how some of y'all ladies do it. Good for you. It is not for me, because like, it is such a mental thing for me. It's not just physical. I'm again, I have Amazon Prime, right? Like, I can order something right now that's going to give me that pleasure without the feelings that go behind it on Amazon Prime. I can have it here tomorrow morning. So why would I choose to be with a man who is going to give me pleasure without the intimacy and the feelings and the desires that I want? That just doesn't make any sense, because that comes with all kinds of complications. Amazon Prime, when I'm done with it, I just have to wash it in soapy water and put it away for it to dry. Like, it's not that hard. Like, to me, it's very simple. So for me, if I'm not having sex with someone who desires me and wants to be with me and shows that through their actions and their words, it's not enjoyable for me. But I'm also, 44 years old. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm old. So, like, ask a 22-year-old, a 25-year-old, they're going to have a different answer. But when you get to a certain space in life, and when you've had committed relationships and you've had that feeling, you know what that feels like, and you don't ever want to go back to something else. Once you've had that desirable feeling, and when you have a partner that's obsessed with you and you're obsessed with them, anything else is just like, I don't want it. And that's the space that I'm in, where it's like 9.5 months after leaving, the house that I shared with my ex. Anything other than what we had, I'm like, I don't want it. I don't desire it. And I'm just not going to give myself to somebody who just wants my body and not the rest of me. But that is it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I completely appreciate your time, your attention. Again, this is season 5. If you're interested in co-hosting with me, hit me up. I would love to have some male who want to test their podcast chops on YouTube or Instagram. Join me for the show. I'd love to hear the male perspective. As I said in the beginning of the show, I am back on the market. I am back to dating. My healing process is at the point where I'm ready to date 6 months after this breakup. I've joined 2 dating sites. I'm going to keep you guys abreast of what's going on. I might have to do dating chronicles. As Lord knows, I feel like I'm rusty. I feel like I'm a bit rusty with this getting to know and intentionality and all that stuff. So my dating process over the next few months should be very interesting, but I will keep you guys abreast. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and like this. And if you're on Instagram, please follow me and like and share this. Thank you for following me. Again, the whole concept of this show is to change the conversation around Black relationships. And fuck your feelings does not mean you do not care about your partner's feelings. It means that you do not invalidate their feelings because they hurt yours in a conversation. So let's do this. Season 5. I'm so excited to be here. I'm trying this new hairstyle, guys. I don't think you guys are going to see this next week. I'm not know if I'm loving it. I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with me. I will see you next week. And good night to Instagram. And good night, YouTube. Bye.